You stand before the rusted airlock. The silence here is heavy. It presses against your ears like deep water. You run a gloved hand over the cold metal. The dust of 3 centuries coats your fingertips. You can feel the vibration through your boots. It is faint at first, just a whisper of power, deep below. Then it grows louder. The deck plates begin to tremble. You look at the scanner in your hand. The energy reading spikes hard. It is waking up. The ship remembers you. Or at least it remembers your genetic code. You smile in the dark. It has been a long time coming. You push the manual release lever. The gears grind with a sound like dying thunder. Air hisses into the corridor. It smells of ozone and old oil. You step inside the belly of the beast. The lights flicker on overhead. They are dim amber strips. They guide you toward the bridge. You are not supposed to be here. The Galactic Council forbids it. They drew a line around this sector. They called it a dead zone. They said nothing of value remained here. But they lied. You know they lied, and you are about to prove it. You reach the command chair. It spins slowly to face you. You sit down. The leather is cracked but firm. A holographic display hums to life. It hovers in the air before you. The text is in the old tongue. You read the first line. It is a welcome message. It calls you Commander. You like the sound of that. You tap the console. The engines respond with a low growl. It shakes the dust from the rafters. You are not just a scavenger anymore. You are a captain, and you have a claim to stake. The screen flashes red. A warning pops up. It is an external hail. The council has found you. That was fast. You expected them to take days. You open the channel. The face of a bureaucrat appears. His skin is pale blue. His eyes are narrow slits. He looks bored. He holds up a datapad. He starts reciting the law. He tells you this is a restricted zone. He tells you to power down. He cites 12 different statutes. You let him finish. It takes a while. He loves the sound of his own voice. You lean back in the chair. You ask him a simple question. You ask about the Salvage Act of Era 4. He stops. He blinks. He did not expect that. He checks his notes. He says that act was repealed. You shake your head. Only for military vessels. You point to the registration on your screen. This is not a warship. It is a mobile heritage museum. You are a curator. You are preserving history. The bureaucrat turns a darker shade of blue. He knows you are right. Technically right. The best kind of right. He threatens you anyway. He says a patrol is en route. He says they will seize the vessel. You tell him to check the hull integrity. You say the ship is fragile. Any tractor beam might crush it. That would be destroying a cultural site. That is a Class 1 felony. He stammers. He cuts the feed. You laugh. It's a dry sound. You bought yourself some time. Maybe an hour, maybe 2. You need to work fast. You bring up the navigation chart. There is a signal pulsing nearby. It's weak. It comes from the debris field. The council calls it the graveyard. You call it the hardware store. You steer the ship toward the drift. The engines complain, but they push you forward. You slide between broken hulls. Some are as big as cities. Others are just fragments. The radar pings a specific coordinate. It matches the key in your pocket. You found this key in a digital archive. It was hidden behind a recipe for synthetic stew. You match speed with a large chunk of iron. It looks like a simple asteroid, but the scan shows hollow spaces inside. You extend the docking clamp. It locks on with a thud. You grab your toolkit. You cycle the airlock again. You float across the gap. The stars spin around you. It is beautiful and terrifying. You reach the hatch on the rock. It opens with a keypad code. You drift inside. The air is stale but breathable. Gravity kicks in. You drop to the floor. You walk down a long hallway. It is lined with containers. You pry one open. It is full of focus crystals. High grade. Illegal in 5 systems. You check the next one. Heavy plasma coils, also illegal. You have found the stash. This was the supply depot for the resistance, the old resistance, the one that failed. But they left gifts for the future. You are the future. You tag the crates for transport. Your drones float in behind you. They start moving the boxes. A noise stops you. It is a rhythmic clanking, like metal on stone. You freeze. You are not alone here. You pull your sidearm. It is just a stunner. Better than nothing. The sound gets closer. You hide behind a crate. A figure steps into the light. It is tall. It is made of bronze and steel. A sentinel. An old model. It has a red optical sensor. It sweeps the room. It is looking for intruders. It holds a staff that crackles with energy. You hold your breath. The sentinel stops near your hiding spot. It tilts its head. It scans the drones. It does not fire. It speaks. The voice is mechanical and rusty. It asks for authorization. You step out slowly. You hold up your hand. You recite the override code. You memorized it from the archives. The sentinel processes the data. The red light turns green. It bows. It calls you the administrator. It asks for orders. You smile. You have a bodyguard now. You return to your ship. The cargo bay is full. The sentinel stands guard at the airlock. You check the sensors. 3 council ships are approaching. They are fast interceptors, sleek and white. They look like sharks. They hail you again. It is a different officer this time. She looks angry. She demands you surrender the contraband. You ask to define contraband. She lists the crystals. You nod. You say they are for lighting, decorative lighting, for the museum exhibits. She screams that they are weapon components. You act surprised. You say you are not an engineer. You are just a humble historian. You say you found them floating in space. Maritime law says finders keepers. She does not find this funny. She says they will board you. You mention the sentinel. You say you have reactivated the automated security for the safety of the artifacts. You warn that the security is glitchy. It might interpret boarding as vandalism. She hesitates. She scans your ship again. She sees the energy signature of the sentinel. It is high, dangerous. She does not want to risk her squad, not for a museum ship. She tells you to stay put. She says a negotiator is coming. You agree. You cut the feed. You have stalled them again, but the net is tightening. You need to upgrade your ship, and fast. You drag the plasma coils to the engine room. You are not an engineer, but you are a quick learner. You connect the coils to the main drive. The readout jumps. Efficiency increases by 40%. You feed the crystals into the lens array. It was meant for a mining laser. Now it is something else. You do not call it a cannon. You call it a high-intensity debris clearer. That sounds legal. You hear a clang from the hull. The drones are welding armor plates. You are building a tank, but you paint it to look like a tour bus. The radio crackles. It is not the council. It is a scrambled frequency. You tune it in. A voice whispers through the static. It is human. It sounds tired. They ask if the rumors are true. They ask if the old fleet is rising. You do not answer directly. You ask who is asking. They give a code name. Red Horizon. You know that name. It is a smuggler ring. They operate on the fringe. They hate the council too. You tell them you are open for business. You need crews. You need pilots. You tell them where to meet. They promise to be there. The resistance is growing. It is small, but it is a spark, and sparks start fires. You look out the viewport. The interceptors are circling. They are waiting for the heavy hitters. You cannot stay here. You need to move. You power up the new drive. The ship hums a deeper note. It feels hungry. You plot a course through the asteroid field. It is dangerous, but the council ships are too big to follow. You engage the engines. The ship leaps forward. You slam back into the seat. The inertial dampeners struggle to keep up. You weave through the rocks. Proximity alarms scream. You ignore them. You fly by instinct. The interceptors fire a warning shot. It burns past your wing. You do not fire back. Not yet. That would break the law. You dive into a dense dust cloud. The sensors go blind. You fly on memory. You emerge on the other side. The interceptors are gone. You have lost them. For now, you head for the rendezvous point. It is an abandoned station. It orbits a gas giant. The atmosphere is swirling violent orange. You dock at the lower ring. The airlock opens. A group of people is waiting. They look rough. Worn coats, scars, desperate eyes. You step out. The sentinel follows you. The crowd steps back. They look at the machine with fear and awe. You tell them it is tame, mostly. You introduce yourself. You tell them the plan. You tell them about the loophole. The council laws are strict, but they are written by machines. They lack imagination. You have plenty of imagination. You point to your ship. You ask who wants to fly. Every hand goes up. You spend the next week working. The station becomes a shipyard. You pull wrecks from the orbit. You strip them for parts. You build 3 more ships. They are ugly, welded together from scrap. But they have good engines and big lasers. You call them the Restoration Fleet. The council sends a diplomat. He arrives in a golden shuttle. He demands a meeting. You meet him in the mess hall. It smells of grease and coffee. He sits on a plastic crate. He looks uncomfortable. He unrolls a scroll. It is a cease and desist order. He says you are violating the peace treaty. You pour him a cup of bad coffee. You ask which article. He says Article 9, unsanctioned fleet construction. You smile. You show him the paperwork. These are not a fleet. They are a traveling circus, a holographic light show. The lasers are for effects. The engines are for travel. He turns red. He knows you are lying. But he cannot prove it. The sensors confirm the lasers are tuned for light. Visible light. Very intense visible light. Intense enough to melt steel, but technically light. He throws the scroll on the floor. He says the High Council will not tolerate this mockery. He says a war fleet is coming, a real one, with capital ships. He says they will vaporize your circus. You tell him to bring tickets. He leaves in a huff. You watch his shuttle depart. The mood in the room is heavy. Your crew looks at you. They are scared. A capital ship is a planet killer. You cannot fight that with mining lasers. You tell them not to worry. You have a plan. You always have a plan. You go to the map room. You look at the sector chart. There is a nebula nearby. It is full of ion storms. Sensors do not work there. You order the fleet to move. You fly into the nebula. The lightning dances around the hulls. It is beautiful and loud. You hide the ships in the clouds. You wait. The council fleet arrives 2 days later. You see them on the passive scanners, massive triangles of black metal. They block out the stars. They start scanning the sector. They are looking for you, but the storm hides you. They send out probes. You shoot them down. The council admiral hails on the open channel. He demands you come out. He calls you a terrorist. You reply on the wideband. You correct him. You are a curator. You are conducting a storm study. You warn him about the weather. You say it is bad for shields. He laughs. He says his shields are impenetrable. You wait for him to enter the cloud. He is arrogant. That is his weakness. The big ships push into the nebula. The ion storm hits them hard. Their shields flicker. The static blinds their targeting computers. They are flying blind, just like you wanted. You give the signal. Your ships drop from the clouds above them. You are close. Point-blank range. You target their sensor arrays. You fire the light show. The beams cut through the interference. They melt the delicate dishes on the enemy hulls. The big ships are now deaf and blind. They panic. They start firing wildly. They hit each other. You weave between the blasts. It is chaotic. It is dangerous. But you are winning. You cripple 2 destroyers. The admiral screams over the radio. He orders a retreat. They turn around. They limp back to open space. You do not pursue. That would be aggression. You just hold your ground. Your crew cheers. They slap each other on the back. You have won the first round, but the war is just starting. You know they will come back, with more ships and better sensors. You need something stronger. You need a Titan. The legends speak of them. Massive ships from the First War. Buried deep, hidden. You have a lead on one. It is on a moon in the outer rim. A moon made of ice. You set a course. The fleet follows you. You are an admiral now, even if you wear a mechanic's jumpsuit. The journey takes weeks. You use the time to train. You run drills. You teach the smugglers military discipline. They complain, but they learn. You arrive at the ice moon. It is white and desolate. The surface temperature is near absolute zero. You scan the crust. There is a massive metal object under the ice. It is 5 miles long. It is a Titan-class carrier, the mother of all ships. You land on the ice. You drill down. It takes days. You breach the hull. You rappel into the darkness. The air is frozen solid. You use thermal cutters to make a path. You reach the bridge. It is vast. It looks like a cathedral. You find the power core. It is cold, dead. You need to jumpstart it. You hook up your ship's reactor to the Titan's grid. You push the button. Nothing happens. You try again. A spark jumps, then another. The lights flicker on, one by one. The hum begins. It is deep. It vibrates in your bones. The ice above begins to crack. The Titan is waking up. The systems come online. Weapons, shields, manufacturing bays. It's a mobile fortress, and it is yours. You bring the crew on board. They are lost in the hallways. It is too big. You need more people, but for now the automation will have to do. You break the ship free from the ice. It rises into the sky. It casts a shadow over the moon. You feel powerful, invincible. Then the alarm sounds. A council fleet has dropped out of warp. They tracked the energy spike. This is the main fleet. Hundreds of ships. They surround you. They are charging weapons. There is no nebula to hide in this time. You are exposed. The admiral hails you. It is the High Elder himself. He looks ancient. His skin is wrinkled. He looks tired of your games. He says the law is absolute. He says you have broken the ultimate taboo. You have awakened a Titan. That is an act of war. He orders all ships to fire. You look at your console. The Titan's shields are at 50%. The weapons are still calibrating. You cannot win a firefight. Not yet. You need a loophole. A big one. You scan the council fleet. They are in a tight formation, standard doctrine. They are linked by a battle network. They share data. You see a flaw in their protocol. It is an old code, a safety override. It prevents them from firing on friendly units. You have an idea. It is crazy, but it might work. You tell your communications officer to broadcast a signal. It is a distress beacon, but not just any beacon. You broadcast the council's own diplomatic code. You register the Titan as a mobile embassy. You claim diplomatic immunity. The Elder pauses. His fleet's computers lock up. They cannot fire on an embassy. It is hard-coded into their keels. He screams in rage. He tries to override it manually, but it takes time. You use that time. You charge the main drive. You are not going to run. You are going to charge. You aim the Titan at their flagship. You accelerate. The sheer mass of your ship pushes their smaller vessels aside. You smash through their formation. Shields flare, hulls buckle. You are a battering ram. You get close to the flagship, war face to face. You launch boarding pods. Your sentinels fly across the gap. They cut through the hull. They storm the enemy bridge. It is over in minutes. The Elder is captured. You stand on the bridge of the Titan. The enemy fleet is in disarray. Their leader is gone. Their computers are confused. You open a channel to the galaxy. You broadcast on every frequency. You tell them the truth. The council is weak. Their laws are chains, and you have the key. You declare a new law, the law of freedom. You invite every world to join you. The response is instant. Lights begin to blink on the map. 1 star system, then 2, then 100. The rebellion is not a whisper anymore. It is a shout. You look at the stars. They look different now, brighter. You turn to your crew. You give the order. Set course for the council homeworld. It is time to finish this. The engines roar. The Titan turns. The fleet follows. You are not just a captain. You are a liberator, and the galaxy is waiting. The journey to the core systems is a parade. Ships join you along the way. Merchant vessels, frigates, even defecting council cruisers. They paint over their insignias. They paint your symbol. A broken chain. You reach the council homeworld. It is a jewel of blue and green. It is surrounded by orbital defense platforms, thousands of them. They are the last line of defense. The cannons track you. They are ready to fire. You stop the fleet. You do not want to destroy the planet. You want to save it. You hail the defense grid. You speak to the soldiers, not the leaders, the soldiers. You tell them the war is over. You tell them the elder is deposed. You ask them to stand down. There is silence. A long, terrible silence. You watch the weapon ports. They glow with energy. Then, one by one, they go dark. The platforms power down. They let you pass. You land the Titan in the Great Plaza. The doors open. You walk out. The air is fresh. The sun is warm. A crowd has gathered. Millions of them. They are silent. They are waiting. You walk up the steps of the council hall. The doors are open. The remaining counselors are there. They are trembling. They offer you the crown. They offer you absolute power. You look at the crown. It is gold, heavy. You pick it up. You look at the crowd. You toss the crown down the steps. It clatters and rolls. It stops at the feet of a child. The crowd gasps. Then they cheer. You speak into the microphone. You tell them there are no more kings. No more elders. Only people. You tell them to write their own laws. You tell them to find their own loopholes. You turn and walk away. Your job is done. You go back to your ship. The original one. The rusted scavenger. It looks small next to the Titan, but it is home. You sit in the chair. You check the scanner. There is a signal. Faint. Far away. Another lost sector. Another mystery. You smile. The galaxy is big, and you have a lot of exploring to do. You fire the engines. You launch into the sky. You leave the politics to the politicians. You are a spacer, and the stars are calling. You punch the coordinates. The stars streak into lines of light. You lean back. You close your eyes. You listen to the hum of the drive. It is the best sound in the world. You wonder what you will find out there. Monsters? Treasure? Maybe both. It does not matter. You are ready. You have your ship. You have your crew. And you have the loopiest legal team in the quadrant. Life is good. As the warp field stabilizes, you take a moment to reflect. You started as a scrap hauler. Now you are a legend. It is funny how life works. You look at the sentinel standing in the corner. It gives a small wave. You wave back. Even the robots are loosening up. You check the cargo manifest. You have plenty of supplies. Coffee, fuel, spare parts, and one golden crown recovered by a drone. Just in case. You never know when you might need a paperweight. The nav computer beeps. Destination reached. You drop out of warp. A new nebula stretches before you. It is purple and gold. It looks like a bruise on the sky. But to you, it looks like opportunity. You grab the controls. You dive in. The adventure continues. And this time, you make the rules. You spot a derelict station drifting in the mist. It is ancient, alien. The design is jagged, harsh. It does not match any database. This is new. You feel that familiar itch, the thrill of the hunt. You hail the fleet. You tell them to hold position. You are going in alone. Just a quick look. Famous last words. You dock at the pylon. The airlock cycles. You step into the unknown. The corridor is dark. Gravity is weird here. It shifts, pulls you sideways. You activate your mag boots. You walk on the wall. Symbols are etched into the metal. They glow faintly. You scan them. The translator struggles. It is a warning. Do not wake the sleepers. You pause. Sleepers? That sounds ominous. You keep walking. You find a central chamber. It is filled with pods. Thousands of them. Inside the pods are creatures. They are tall, slender. They look like they are made of glass. They are beautiful and terrifying. One of the pods is cracking. A hand presses against the glass. It opens its eyes. They are full of stars. You step back. The creature pushes the glass open. It steps out. It looks at you. It does not speak. It projects a thought into your head. Finally, you realize you have found the creators. The ones who built the Titans. The ones who wrote the first laws. And they have been waiting for someone to break them. The creature smiles. It extends a hand. You take it. The station lights up. The nebula clears. You see a fleet, a real fleet, hidden for eons. They are not ships of war. They are ships of creation. Seed ships, world builders. You realize the truth. The council was just a placeholder, a steward, keeping the galaxy safe until the true inheritors arrived. And that is you, humanity, the rule breakers, the risk takers. You open a channel to your fleet. You tell them to prepare. The real work is about to begin. You are not just freeing the galaxy. You are going to rebuild it. Better, stronger, stranger. You look at the glass creature. You ask it where to start. It points to a dead star in the distance. It says, "Ignite it." You laugh. Ignite a star? That sounds impossible. That sounds dangerous. That sounds like fun. You contact your engineer. You ask if we have any spare fusion cores. He says yes. You tell him to bring them all. You're going to light a fire in the dark. The fleet moves out. The seed ships follow. You watch the dead star get closer. It is cold, dark, a giant cinder. You deploy the cores. You set the detonators. You back away. The countdown reaches 0. A flash blinds the sensors. Then, a glow, a spark, a flame. The star roars back to life. Light floods the system. Planets warm up. Ice melts. Life begins to stir. You watch from the bridge. It is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen. You did that. You and your loopholes. You realize that laws are just maps. They tell you where people have been. They do not tell you where you can go. You chart your own course. You fly off the edge of the map, and there, in the unknown, you find yourself. The council is gone. The ancient laws are dust. A new age has dawned. The age of humanity, the age of the loophole. You sit back. You take a sip of coffee. It is still bad, but it tastes like victory. You check the scanner. One more signal. Always one more. You smile. You engage the drive. Let's see what is out there. End of the line. Beginning of the journey. You are the captain. The galaxy is your ship. Fly it well.